So good, so good, so good.
Everything you want for summer is at Nordstrom Rack stores now, and up to 60% off. Stock up and save on the brands you love like Vince, Sam Edelman, Frame, and Free People. Join the Nordy Club to unlock exclusive discounts, shop new arrivals first, and more. Plus, buy online and pick up at your favorite Rack store for free. Great brands, great prices. That's why you Rack.
Ready to soundtrack your summer? With Red Bull Summer All Day Play, you choose a playlist that fits your summer vibe the best. Are you a festival fanatic, a deep end DJ, a road dog, or a trail mixer? Just add a song to your chosen playlist and put your summer on track. Red Bull Summer All Day Play. Red Bull gives you wings. Visit redbull.com/brightsummer ahead to learn more. See you this summer.
Hello and welcome to this week's episode of The Filmmakers Podcast. This is a podcast where we talk filmmaking, from indie film to studio films to high-end TV to documentaries and everything in between. How to get them made, how to make them, and how to try not to royally F it up, in our very, very humble opinion. I am Giles Alderson, and I'm delighted to welcome onto the show today an absolute legend, absolute titan of the filmmaking world. He started as a stuntman, became a manager, and then became one of the biggest producers in Hollywood history. He built the Dark Knight Trilogy. He took us to the post-apocalypse in 12 Monkeys, and he just won the Academy Award for Best Picture for Oppenheimer. We are talking about Chuck Roven. Yeah, that's right. This guy is absolute legend. I'm so delighted to have him on. He has set up his production company Atlas Entertainment. It's kind of a mini studio. Unlike most producers who do a deal at a studio, Chuck's company Atlas, like I say, they're kind of a mini studio. They find the IP, they develop the script with their own money, and they package with the stars before selling it. It's how he made American Hustle and Oppenheimer. He has worked with Christopher Nolan numerous times. He was the bridge for him on the Dark Knight Trilogy, and he was the one who helped set up Oppenheimer at Universal when Nolan left Warner Brothers. For DC Universe, he was the architect of the Snyderverse, Man of Steel, Wonder Woman, and Zack Snyder's Justice League. Oh my gosh. And now he is back. And it's a bit of a reunion as well, because he's back with director Timur Bekmambetov, who directed Chris Pratt in Wanted, back when Pratt was the funny sidekick guy getting hit with a keyboard. And now they reunite with Chris Pratt as a global action star. This is a high-concept sci-fi thriller. Think Minority Report meets 12 Monkeys. It is called Mercy, and it is out now in cinemas via Amazon MGM Studios. It's set in the near future, where capital crime has skyrocketed, and Chris Pratt plays a detective accused of a violent crime. He has to prove his innocence to an AI judge, played by Rebecca Ferguson, before his time runs out. Speaking of crimes, this podcast was initially recorded in Holborn area of London, and this was myself and Tony Cook stepping in to co-host with me. And Chuck gave us so much of his time. He gave us 50 minutes in this hotel room, and it was fantastic. It was a brilliant interview. Me and Tony went for a celebratory drink over the road, and whether someone was following us or not, I am not sure. But the bag with the podcast recording equipment and our microphones, and the card with the recording of Chuck Roven, the whole 15 minutes was gone. What these little bastards had done, I explained it in the podcast, had swapped my bag for an almost identical bag by my feet. Leant in, leaned over, tried to talk to the bartender while I was on the phone, and Tony was trying to order a drink, and just switched the bags. It was like something out of a Hollywood movie. Arseholes is what I call them. Absolute fuckwits. I am so annoyed, because that Zoom H6 and those podcast mics we have had from the very first podcast. Very first. These little shits, there's 3 of them, we saw them on the CCTV. I didn't, but I got told that, and the police came in and scanned us and stole it. I'm absolutely devastated. Not one because we lost the microphones and the H6 and the card, but because we lost Chuck's recording. But Chuck is an amazing guy, and he very kindly, from LA, said, don't worry, I'll get up at 6 a.m. on my busy day and record with you again. What a legend. And he has done exactly that, and this is what you are listening to now. And because of that, you have to go watch Mercy. It's an amazing film. I loved it. It was so much fun, so entertaining, so enjoyable. And he talks about making that. He talks about Oppenheimer. He talks about producing, and he talks about how he got his start and why hustle is so important for you as a filmmaker. Like I say, this is co-hosted with Tony Cook. This is third time on the podcast. Last week he was on talking about A Gangster's Life, which is doing really, really well. So do go support that as well. But so if you come across anyone trying to sell a H6 or some microphones, then go kick their asses. Well, maybe not first. Find out where they got them, because they might be real. They might be theirs. I've had to buy some new ones, which is devastating. It's not worth the insurance, which is devastating as well. Me and Tony, we actually went round all the potential haunts that someone might be selling this kind of gear around Holborn and Tottenham Court Road afterwards. Did we find them? No, but we really, really wanted to. Till next time, you crazy little twats. Anyway, revenge will be sweet and revenge will be ours. Let's get to today's interview, though. This is Chuck Roven. Enough of my disappointment. But at least we got to talk to Chuck again. And that, not worth it, but that is a nice thing, because Chuck is a great guy, as you'll find out. Here it is. This is myself, Giles Alderson, and co-host Tony Cook, talking to the legend, the Oscar winner. Right now, he's holding the Oscar. This right now, I mean, it's his in his hands. No one can ever take that away. But I mean, the reigning champion of Oscars right now is his. This is Chuck Roven. Enjoy. Hey, Chuck.
So, how you doing? Sorry, somebody grabbed the bag.
Yes, we've explained it in our intro, but yes, the bag of all our podcast equipment got stolen from the bar me and Tony were in after our interview with Chuck. And so this is the thing, Chuck. It was a bit like a Hollywood movie from the CCTV footage. They got a bag exactly the same as ours. They came in a 3. Tony, what was the footage like? Tell Chuck the footage.
Well, the bloke, so 2 of them stayed further back. And then the guy who came over to us was at, what's a polite way of saying this? Rotund. So I don't know how we didn't notice him kind of orbiting us. And then, in fairness, I was distracted because I was at the bar.
Yeah, and I was on the phone at the time. And yeah, they just literally swapped, like it was like the Ocean's 11, like a adjustment bureau swap of bags, and they literally swapped them around. I mean, God knows what they thought was in there. Your valuable words, Chuck. Like, you do
have to give them credit. It's quite a good play.
Yeah, it's a good play. But yeah, no, thank you so much again for doing this. I really appreciate it.
It's my pleasure, guys. I'm really sorry that you had to go through that, but they obviously set this up.
Yeah. They set it up.
But why?
I did say to Giles, this is just going to look like an elaborate plan for us to spend more time with you now.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, we must. How do we do this?
That's crazy.
It's crazy. But that's the other thing. Tony is a big lad. Do you know what I mean? You wouldn't mess with Tony stood by the bar. So they must have, I don't know their chances anyway. The police are on it. They'll find the guys because you could see their faces on CCTV, but sadly.
Oh, you can? Really?
Yeah, you can see their faces. Yeah. They're full came in with, you can see them.
We did go and have a look around all the local bars to see if we could find them.
Yeah, we did. We went round to see if anyone was selling any sound equipment and podcast mics and stuff. But,
wow. Maybe they had those kind of things on their faces where they could rip off their face and they actually was somebody else. Right?
Tom Cruise style. Mission Impossible style.
They could do a Mission Impossible, right?
Yeah. That's supposedly what happened. They could come in as anyone. They could have come in as Tom Cruise and just went to
exactly.
Go around the corner. Well, look, obviously we're here to talk about Mercy. We're here to talk about you and how wonderful you are, not only coming back on, but just as an amazing producer and inspiration for so many as well. So yeah, let's start with Mercy. Look, obviously it's an amazing film, and Tony loved it. We really thought it was fantastic, really fun. Let's talk about the making of this. And, you know, we got Chris Pratt starring in it, you know, Rebecca Ferguson. It's just such a wonderful, wonderful film. Why did you want to make this one, I suppose, in the first place?
Well, you know, there's a gentleman who has been with Atlas for actually around a dozen years, Rob Amadon, and he's you know, an executive vice president of the company. And one of the great things about my company, I think, is that so many of the executives started out as assistants on desks. You know,
I love that.
Rob was one of those. He worked the most closely with Alex Gartner, who's been really my producing partner since the early 2000s. You know, we made many movies together, and we're just finishing Roadhouse 2 right now.
Yeah, super excited by that.
He's in Savannah. I'm going on the Mercy tour. But in any case, as Rob's experience grew, going from assistant to associate producer to co-producer to executive producer, he brought in this idea that Marco Van Bell, the writer of the script, had pitched to him.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought it was an interesting idea. The ironic thing, of course, is when this started 5 years ago, you know, we talked about AI, but like it wasn't like what it is now, right? Or like, if you're not using AI, you're just behind.
Yes,
you know?
it's true. Yeah.
So I thought it was an interesting idea. And he had a colleague that was working for Timur at the time, and he stayed with Timur until we finished Mercy, and now he's gone on his own, Maj. And Rob pitched it to Maj as a possibility of a movie for Timur.
Right.
And when Timur heard about it and we talked about it, he recognized that it was a way to take his wonderfully creative screen life movies and expand them into something bigger that could actually really work, you know, as an IMAX movie.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because you shot on IMAX. Yeah.
And so that's how it started. So we made a collaborative deal. We, you know, both put in money, Atlas and Basilov. And when we had the script, Timur said, you know, I really want to try to give this to Chris. They had worked together on Wanted.
Mm-hmm.
That's how they finally met. So I don't know, Wanted is 15 years ago or something.
2008.
It's a while ago.
Yeah.
But it was a really good movie.
That's
It broke a lot
movie.
of people.
Yes.
And they had been trying to find something together. And I've known Chris on and off for a while. I met him through James Gunn. They obviously had a very, very great long relationship, which I'm sure will continue. And so Timur and I met up with him, Chris, left, you know, pitched him the idea, let him read the script. Then we get the call from the managers, and the agent goes, okay, we're good. Let's try to make it.
See, I love that.
It was just one of those serendipitous, but, you know, meant to be things.
When you're packaging a film, which you do so well at Atlas, you get the scripts, you like you say, you're putting bits of money in yourself, and co-producing potentially with other people as well. Is it obviously important to get, you know, your 2 names, your 3 names, and then you sell it afterwards? Because that's your model. Does that work every time, or do you sort of change it? Certainly you did on Mercy.
No, you really, it all depends on what the circumstances of, you know, each project is different. That's one of the things that I love so much about the business that I'm in, is that it's never exactly the same. So it's never boring. You know, there's always a curveball and something else that's going to happen, you know. And one of the things that was really important to Chris was that we shoot the principal photography in Los Angeles, because he had been away from his family for a long time over the course of the work that he had done over the last several years. And he needed to spend some time with them. And if he was going to go to where, we had thought about even shooting a big portion of the movie in Australia, he would be away from his family. So we figured out a financial way to make that work.
Mm.
And one of the amazing things, and again, you keep inventing things or figuring things out as you're going through the process of making a movie. It's not like, oh, I know exactly what I'm going to do the entire time and nothing's ever going to go wrong. Okay.
Yeah.
Things do go wrong. So we ended up not just shooting most of the principal photography in Los Angeles, but for me anyway, while I've worked many times on sound stages and green screen stages and things like that, it was the first time I had ever worked on a volume stage. And one of the things that was amazing about a volume stage is you could go out with a very small unit and shoot plates, which included, cars and people and stuff like that. But without having that big, monstrous group of people having to rent parking lots and serve a bunch of food and, have to rent not just the building that you're shooting at, but all these other things around it because you're interrupting their lives and things like that.
Yeah.
And, but by not doing the scenes there, just the background plates, and then taking that and putting them on the screens on a volume stage, it was almost exactly like you were really outside. Like, the scene where Ken and Chris are out on the Pacific Coast Highway.
Yes.
Okay. That was a volume stage.
Wow.
Oh.
Okay.
Pretty amazing, right?
That's amazing. I didn't think that was the case.
Yeah. And,
wow.
And, some of those sequences where you've got the riding going on.
Yep.
There's plates, but we're on a volume stage. When the guys, when they're jumping from a truck onto a police car, that's a volume stage.
Do you know what? I was going to ask about that big stunt in the car. I was like, okay, how did they do this? They probably did it old school way. Chuck and his gang just probably went, yeah, we're going to close down the highway and shoot it. I was like, yeah. But no, you actually did it on the volume. Okay.
Yeah.
Wow, it works really well. Did you, the plates that you have to shoot there, are you shooting those in IMAX as well? What kind of level do they have to be? So everything shot in IMAX. So everything
was shot in IMAX. And then of course, most of the, I think actually all the visual effects were done by this company called Double Negative, including all the screens, right? And by the way, of course, Chris in the chair, volume stage. Rebecca
definitely.
Volume stage.
Yeah.
So, and then as we were, finishing all the visual effects, Namit Malhotra, who is the CEO and of Double Negative, DNEG, had this idea and said, I really think you guys should take a look at doing this movie in 3D, just converting the IMAX into IMAX 3D.
And it's so cool.
The 3D was incredible because it really does. Because a lot of 3D, especially when it used to be done before, it got gimmicky and there's that side of it. Your one was incredible because it immersed you into it. You feel like you're sat in the chair with Chris when the stuff starts coming across and the fire, incredible.
So like there's a theater that Amazon owns called the Culver. It's kind of a legendary theater in Los Angeles, or Culver City, but which is adjacent to Los Angeles, part of Los Angeles. And when I saw those tests, because I said, okay, now I'm in, but we got to test it. I got to see what it looks like.
Of course. Yeah.
And I sat down and put on the glasses, and I was never a fan of 3D. I just
really never appealed to you beforehand.
No.
Okay.
It never appealed to me before then, and I tried.
You cried
But-
with joy? Yeah.
But it just, whatever happened in those intervening years,
Mm.
right, really turned. I don't know how many movies of 3D you guys have seen. But
Not so
Piranha
many.
3D. That was
Yeah, Avatar, obviously. Yeah, in the last sort of few years, less, but certainly 10 years ago, they were everywhere, weren't they? Everything was 3D. Everything was turned 3D. Yeah. And then it's suddenly sort of not as much anymore. But I'm so glad you did with Mercy because it immersed you into the film even more, right?
Exactly.
It's perfect. It was perfect. I loved it. Yeah,
Exactly.
for that.
So that was how we continued to try to, go, come up with good ideas.
Yeah. And that's it. Talking of good ideas, casting Rebecca Ferguson is always a good idea. How many days? Isn't it? She's amazing. Yeah, we've interviewed her for the podcast and she's just so delightful. How many days did you have with her? Because obviously her stuff was all in the volume. All her stuff was pretty much just her face, her body.
Oh, no, we had her for the full.
Oh.
We had her for the full shooting period because.
Really? Huh.
Yeah, but it was a very short shoot. Considering, I've done shoots that are, 80, 90, 100 days.
Of course. Yeah,
right?
Big movies. Yeah, definitely.
In fairness, those Oscars don't win themselves,
No, exactly. Yeah. You've got, you've got to do 90 days for an Oscar these days.
I think it took us to shoot this movie. First unit. Then we did do a bunch of second unit
stuff. Yeah. Okay. All right. But knowing how much you normally shoot, probably be 30 days, but I think it's less than that, and maybe it's around 25.
No. You hit it the first time.
Oh, okay. I should have
32 days.
32 days. It's still impressive. Yeah, it's still impressive. I was just being nice.
And then, because we had gone back and forth about, taking advantage. And I had shot a number of movies before in Australia. I shot I shot this movie. The first time I shot in Australia was on a movie called The Blood of Heroes, but it also had another name called The Blood of Heroes. It also had another name called The Salute of the Jugger.
Right.
And I met, and that was written and directed by David Peoples.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Right. Really a fantastic guy, a guy I made some great movies with, including with his wife.
Yep.
And we went to Australia to make this movie. It's post-apocalyptic.
Yep.
Starred Rutger Hauer, Vincent D'Onofrio, Delroy Lindo, and Joan Chen.
Yes.
And it was about this post-apocalyptic period where they go from town to town and challenge the town's team in this game called Jugger. But it's a very violent game.
I'm pretty sure I've seen this movie. I love these kind of movies. This was like early 90s, late 89 or something. Is that right?
It was 1987.
Oh, okay. Right. Okay. Amazing.
And I met this guy. His name is Guy Norris. He's a second unit director, innovator. He's done all of the Mel Gibson post-apocalyptic
Mad Max movies.
Exactly. And he invented the game of how to play the game for David.
Right.
And while the movie was not successful, ironically, the game has become a cult. And it has actually leagues around the world now of people who play Jugger. Isn't that? You just never know where this stuff goes.
You don't. That's
wonderful thing about life,
isn't it?
I'll be honest, Chuck. When you said Australia for this one, and you talk about Mercy for Australia, is this just an excuse for you to go back surfing again? This time back into the stuntman days, the surfing skills.
Stunt extra days.
I didn't surf in Australia, but I did scuba dive in Australia.
Okay. All right. Bit of both. I suppose that one question which is so interesting for our filmmakers. Obviously, you're the reigning Oscar holder at the moment for Oppenheimer, which is so lovely, and what an incredible film, an incredible achievement by you and the team. But then you compare it to Mercy, sort of the next film, and it's so different in its scale, its genre, I mean, but in its belief, and they're still both brilliant films. How do you go about going, oh, I'm just change it, it's now we're doing sci-fi and it's on a volume, compared to Oppenheimer where it's in deserts in the middle of nowhere? As a producer, how do you manage that, and do you enjoy the change?
Well, first of all, I've had this great fortune to work very closely on, I guess, 5 movies with Chris and Emma. And, that's a very different producing experience. Okay.
Yeah, go on.
Because, Chris is very specific.
Yeah, Chris Nolan, yeah.
And that's another great thing about working with talented people, and particularly talented directors, because everybody's directing style is somewhat different. It's just not the same, right? Mm-hmm. And as long as they have a vision, and as a producer, whether you develop the material yourself internally, which Atlas does, or you come onto a project because you're invited onto it because people think you have something to offer, everyone is different. And what you really want to make sure of is, hopefully you have a director who really has a vision that you can help them fulfill, right?
Yeah.
When it works that way, you're incredibly fortunate. Doesn't always work that way.
No.
All really I had to do was have the fortunate opportunity to ask Chris if he knew what his next movie was. and he said he was thinking about it. This was after Tenet. Mm-hmm. And I asked him if he knew who Robert J. Oppenheimer was. And serendipitously, he said, oh, yeah, we quote him in Tenet.
Yes.
And then he said, and, that was Rob Pattinson who quoted him. Mm. And as a wrap gift, he gave me a book of speeches and sayings of Robert J. Oppenheimer. So yes, I know who Robert J. Oppenheimer is.
Yeah. So it's Pattinson's fault, or his? Yeah, absolutely.
Yes, exactly.
Yes, exactly. And he wasn't in it. You should thank him. Yeah, should absolutely give him a part. He needs one. What's it working with someone like Chris Nolan and watching him work? For us, sort of filmmakers and the filmmakers listening, it must be fascinating. Can you give us an insight of how his brain is on set, watching someone like that, a master, work?
He is he knows. I mean, it's not that he doesn't rehearse. Of course he does rehearse, but he comes onto the set knowing pretty much what he's going to do. And it's very rare that he makes any big adjustments. Okay. He certainly will make an adjustment. And of course he'll work with the actor or whatever department he needs to, in order to, let's just say, polish what he's thinking of trying to do. But he very rarely gets onto the set and goes, well, we just got to start over. Okay. But there are other directors, right, who do it differently. I mean, Timur is a director who has inspirations while we're shooting, and sometimes they get, they make a big difference in terms of where we're going to go in the scene on that day. And, and they all do things differently. And it's so interesting to watch how they work, because Chris doesn't like monitors on a set.
Yeah, I heard that.
And so he has just one around his neck, and he has one for the script supervisor. Mm-hmm. And of course, the camera team has something that allows them to play back. All right. Mm-hmm. But normally on most sets, you've got these monitors everywhere for all the different departments.
Heads, yeah.
You're looking at what's happening. Chris doesn't do that. All right. We had those on Mercy, right? Timur has no issues with that, right? A guy like David Russell,
yes,
he can have a monitor around his neck, but also he likes to get very close to his actors. So if we were shooting this scene right now, he would be under my desk. I'm not kidding.
Shooting up at your nose.
And as I'm giving the lines, okay,
yeah,
he might yell out and say, "Try this line."
I love that. Yeah, keeping it real and natural, and
it's weird hearing someone underneath your desk saying,
yeah.
But some people like that, and some people don't.
Yes, yeah, exactly.
You said this place was steps from the water.
We just haven't found the steps yet.
How much did we save?
Enough.
Enough to get lost?
Or you could book a stay with Hilton.
Welcome to your oceanfront room, just steps from the water.
The Hilton sale is on now. Book on Hilton.com or the Hilton app and save up to 20% to get the stay you expected. When you want savings, not surprises, it matters where you stay. Hilton, for the stay.
Bonjour, compadre. It's the
Priceline Negotiator.
How do I negotiate so many great travel deals? My greatest gadget, the Priceline app. It's got hotel deals, flight deals, rental car deals, all of those deals in a bundle. Deals, game day deals, concert trip deals. No one deals more deals than Priceline. Hold your horses, there's more. The app lets you filter hotels by neighborhood, vibe, star level, and amenities like pools and spas and beachfronts and... Wait, I'm not done. Stop cutting me off.
Priceline.
Have you ever rearranged your furniture and discovered the carpet underneath looks brand new while the rest of it looks, well, not so new? It's time for a carpet upgrade. At the Home Depot, we have stylish choices at simple prices from all the top brands. Best of all, we can install it for you, starting at only 49 cents per square foot. So all you have to do is pick your perfect floor. Start your carpet project today at the Home Depot. How doers get more done. Exclusions apply for licenses. See homedepot.com/license numbers.
That's horses for courses. You know?
It's horses for courses. What happens when you have to deal with difficulties? You know, you're obviously a really established producer now. And when things do go wrong, and maybe they go wrong much less than a lot of independent films do, and it's usually money, it's usually a location falling down. In your world, what's the most difficult part of being a producer?
Well, again, the interesting thing is you just don't know what the problem's going to be.
Mm.
Right. And so you've got to be light on your feet to, you can't just go, oh my God, what are we going to do now? Like, we got to shut down you really want to make sure you don't do that.
Yes.
You have to go, okay, let's suck it up and figure out how we're going to get around this.
Yeah.
Chuck, is that something you kind of carried over? Because when we were lucky enough to speak last time, you said about how you became a manager of the racing car drive from just sheer hustle, and then hustling the studio with the critics' reviews to go in there, all the way through, just that hustle to go. Do you still carry that into what you're doing now? Is there any moments where, like, all right, old school Chuck hustle's coming out?
I do try to be, like I say, light on my feet and, try to deal with whatever curveballs are thrown and try to get through the day in a way that we can look at the crew and go, okay, we got this, we got what we needed today. It's a really great feeling.
Mm. Yeah, it really is. And on that, I'd love you to, because you did tell this wonderful story before, when you were making Heart Like a Wheel and trying to get it made and trying to get reviewers. Could you just tell our listeners that story about making Heart Like a Wheel and how you got it seen and out there?
So, I was at home watching a TV show called Wide World of Sports at the time.
Yeah.
And what they were showing was a drag race, the World Championship of drag racing, at this racetrack in Pomona, which is right outside of Los Angeles, right? It was Pomona Raceway. And Shirley Muldowney was the first woman to ever become a world champion in a racing venture, in a car racing, and beating head to head a guy, right?
Yeah.
But the amazing thing to me was the announcer was talking about the fact that the guy she was racing against was her ex-boyfriend. And he was also a very wealthy airplane freight guy. Connie Coletta was his name, and he owned Coletta Coletta Plains.
Right.
And she won against him, right? I jumped in my car. I drove down to Pomona, got out of my car, and she was packing up all her gear with her team. And I walked up to her. I was like 25 or something.
Yeah, hadn't produced at this point. Straight up to Shirley.
Well, I was a pretend producer. I had a couple of development deals.
Okay. Yeah.
And I had a couple of development deals, and I was trying desperately to get a movie made. And I go, "Hi, Shirley, I'm Chuck Roven. I'm a Hollywood producer."
Love it. Love it. Yeah.
Or trying to be a Hollywood producer.
Yeah, I'm trying to be, but I'm not going to tell you, Shirley. Shirley.
And so I said, and I'd like to talk to you about optioning the rights to your life.
Amazing. Yeah.
And she says, "Honey, if you saw that race, you saw I just beat the shit out of my ex-boyfriend. But I don't have a ride anymore." So he was also my sponsor.
Yeah.
So if you can get me sponsors, I'll give you the rights to my life.
Yeah.
So I did. I became her manager. And I got her more sponsorship than she had ever had, because, she had one sponsor who held the purse strings.
Yeah.
Here I got her, oil sponsorship, car sponsorship, tire sponsorship, because she was unique.
Very.
Right?
Yeah.
Never happened before.
No.
And we made. We worked together for 10 years or 12 years. She had 3 world championships by the time we split up.
Wow.
I don't think anyone's ever had that. I think it still holds the record for a woman, for sure. And then we went ahead and we made the movie. That was a very interesting adventure.
Yeah, straight out of the frying pan into the fire. Literally, like, oh my God, this is what the movie is. Yeah.
What was so great about that was I really had. I don't know if you heard this story, because the director, his name is Jonathan Kaplan. He just passed away actually recently, and he had done a number of successful movies. And he was for many, many, many years the show running director of ER. TV
yeah, I read that. Yes.
Right, legendary series.
Yes.
And we had hired a guy to play Connie Coletta, of course.
Of course.
And we needed him, this particular guy, because he was a big TV star. And during the shooting, he would yell, "Cut." And the director, Jonathan, finally came up to him and said, "Listen, I'm the director. You're the actor. I say action. I say cut. You do everything in between."
That's brilliant. Oh, I love that.
And he nodded. And Bonnie Bedelia, who played Shirley Muldowney, was doing a scene, very emotional scene.
Right.
The camera was on her, and he was just giving her the off camera.
Right.
And in the middle of the scene, and she's crying, he yells, "Cut."
Oh,
yeah.
No.
Bloody hell.
And she goes, What are you doing?
Yeah.
I like what I was doing.
Yeah. Why are you cutting me?
What? Wow. Now, Jonathan is, so he says to her, "I look out for numero uno."
Oh my gosh.
Jonathan says, what are you doing? We already had this conversation. He goes, "Listen, I didn't like what I was doing off camera because the dialogue that's written here is wrong because I'm a guy who knows exactly what he's going to do every move. Okay. I never am spontaneous. So we have to talk about this and fix it. So Jonathan says, let's go in the trailer and have this conversation.
Right.
So we go into the trailer.
Yeah.
I follow them in. My first movie.
Yeah. First movie. Here we go.
And as the guy closes the door, Jonathan turns around and goes on a 5-minute tirade about what an asshole this guy is, how he's going to destroy him in the business, and how he's going to make sure he never works again.
Wow.
At which point, the guy, now Jonathan was heavy, okay? He was not a light man, okay? The guy pushes him up against the wall,
right,
puts his hands around his throat, and starts to choke him.
Whoa.
Okay? And while he's choking him, Jonathan says, so when you walked in here, did you think we were going to do that? Or was that spontaneous? Now get the fuck out there and do the scene.
Yeah. That's amazing. That's so good. And should we name and shame this actor? Because he's doing really well now.
He's that mean.
No, he's gone. He's left.
He has. But yes, he had done really well in his time. He had a career. So yeah, he did have a career.
The amount of people listening to us now who are now on IMDb.
Yeah.
Which one's this?
Yeah, which is this? So yeah, from there, but then the it's getting it actually sold and getting it seen.
So I had really great guys who were ex-Disney guys who were also race enthusiasts. They put up half the money. In 20th Century Fox, John Davis actually was just starting out his motion picture career. And he had a guy working for him by the name of Mike Nolan, who was a buddy of mine. And he introduced us, and that sort of shaped the financing.
Right.
The distributor of the movie, the guy who ran distribution for Fox, he was not a fan of the movie because he didn't think it had enough action. He didn't think it had enough crash and burn in it. And the reality is there was a crash and burn scene in it because he actually did, a number of times, those cars were, filled with nitro and stuff like that. And they, I'm going to tell you just a little sidebar and then I'll come back to this. But one of the things with Shirley, she was such an amazing woman. So she crashed at 300 miles an hour.
Oh, wow.
And I flew to up into Toronto, I think it was, or no, Montreal.
Oh, I'm not surprised going that fast. She probably flew all the way to rolling for a while. Jeez. No, you flew.
And she was unconscious when I got there.
My gosh.
She had some broken bones. But we knew from the doctors that she was going to be fine, but she needed to mend. She comes out of her being unconscious, sees me, grabs my hand, and the first words out of her mouth are, "What a ride."
Oh, wow.
That is a machine.
It is literally a machine. That's a machine. That's amazing.
So anyway, because they didn't think we had enough crash and burn and stuff like that, they were concerned about giving us a release.
Right.
And I knew we had a good movie because, people were really responding to the movie. So I called the critics of the LA Times, the New York Times, Time Magazine, and one more magazine I just can't remember. And I spoke to the 4 critics and I said, listen, I'd like you to go see my movie and give me a quote. And they said, well, does the movie have a distribution date? And I said, no, you don't understand. If I don't have the quotes, I ain't getting the distribution date. So they actually did do that. Nice. And they actually gave me a quote. Mm-hmm. And so I took the Hollywood Reporter and Variety, and I did a phony back page of the quotes for the movie, right? But it was literally their quotes, right? And I walked into the head of distribution, and he was a new head, and he was trying to tell his boss that the boss was making a mistake, the one who was refusing to distribute the movie, and telling him, tell Roven, sorry, buddy.
Yep, sorry, buddy.
And I said, look, I did this. These are true quotes, and I'm going to buy ads in the Variety and on the Reporter and put it on the back page that says, 20th Century Fox, why are you not distributing this movie? Look at these quotes.
Yes, it's perfect.
They said, no, don't do that.
please don't do that. I love it.
So that's how I got my first movie distributed.
That is the kind of thing a lot of the listeners of this, they'll find it inspiring, because to go from that to now obviously being the Oscar-winning Hollywood powerhouse, everyone likes seeing that whole beginning journey. And that's what I said about your hustle the whole way through. It's incredible. Just having the balls to turn around to execs and saying that.
Yeah, 20th Century Fox as well, and just say, yeah, this is what I'm going to do unless you release the movie. Wow, that does take balls, which is amazing. And just before you go, when was the moment for Atlas? Because it's so interesting in your career. There's so many amazing films that you've made. I remember Johnny Handsome as well when I was younger, which I loved, Cadillac Man, Angus. But 12 Monkeys was probably the first one that became well known before City of Angels and Three Kings. Was that the moment when you felt like you officially arrived and you could start piecing and packaging together movies the way you wanted to?
Yeah, I mean, that was definitely, let me put it this way. 12 Monkeys was definitely my first really big hit, and at the time, my first wife was alive. Her name was Dawn Steele, and she was quite a legendary figure in the motion picture business, right?
Yeah,
she was the first woman to be the president of Motion Picture Studio.
Mm-hmm.
And it was funny because I developed 12 Monkeys internally. It was based on a French documentary filmmaker by the name, God, I can't remember his name right now, but the movie was called Le Jeté, The Runway.
Okay.
And my God, I just really wish I want to give this guy credit, because he created what was at the time a very unique movie, because he shot the movie on film, on motion picture and camera film. But when he put the movie together, he disliked it so much that he converted it into stills.
Wow.
And so if you look at the whole movie, you will see that there's only one moving shot, which is the shot where the young Cole sees himself, because he's come back in time.
Yes.
Right?
The airport.
And he sees himself getting shot.
Yeah.
Okay. And that's the only live action shot in the movie, even though we shot the whole movie live action. And yet, one of the most admired critics of all time wrote about him, and many people wrote about this movie as being something very special, right? And it was. You should see it. And so I showed that movie. An executive who was working for me brought me that movie. I had no idea what it was. I saw it and I said, wow, this is worthy of remaking. I went to David and Jan Peoples, and they wrote the script. I set it up at Universal. And And I thought Terry Gilliam would be the right guy, right?
Right guy, yeah.
And so Dawn had worked with Terry Gilliam on Baron Munchausen at Columbia Pictures.
Right.
And that did not go well for either one of them.
It did not. No.
So I called Terry. I'm introduced to him. Brian Lord, who runs CAA now, was a young agent at the time, and he represented Terry, and he introduced me to him.
Okay.
And I talked to Terry about the movie. He knows who David Peoples is because David Peoples had written some really great movies. And he says, send the script. Then he calls me up and he says, okay, there's some things I want to do, but I'm ready to jump in. And I said, well, just before you do that, you need to know my wife is Dawn Steele.
Yeah, just putting that out there first, before we get too deep into this.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Okay. And so I don't know if you know Terry or have ever spoken to him, but he has this cackle laugh, right? So
Brilliant.
And he goes, Chuck, there is no bridge you can burn in Hollywood. And that was it.
And that was it. And you were making
went off
a movie.
to the races.
Oh,
and I just saw him again when I was in London for the screenings of Mercy. And he came to them, and
nice.
We're talking about possibly doing something, believe it or not. We'll see.
Nice. Oh, that would be amazing. Oh, amazing.
Yeah.
Good. So that was the moment.
Movie with Terry, right? I did Brothers Grimm with Terry.
Yeah, Brothers Grimm, which is again fantastic. Another movie. So, but that you feel like that was the moment where you really were on the map, and you really were,
on 12 Monkeys.
Yeah, and then on.
Yeah, I mean, for sure, because that movie cost, which was not insignificant at that time. So we made the movie in 1993, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
and we made the movie for a little over $30 million.
Right.
And the movie did $180 million around the world. So
it's incredible. And Brad Pitt's amazing in it, and it's really good. And then obviously
everybody, the acting is Madeline so amazing. It's so good.
So good. It's so good. Then obviously Batman Begins and that whole story. But we know we've already taken up so much of your time, and we really appreciate it a lot coming back on again.
Well, listen, I really enjoyed talking to you guys.
Yeah.
And I have a confession to make. I had your stuff stolen so we could do this again.
Oh, Chuck. That weirdly makes me so happy. However, I would like the stuff back. No, that's amazing, Chuck. That's so
all right,
good.
Thanks, guys.
And just a final question from Tony then for the wrap up for our bit of fun.
Yeah. Chuck, if you could go back in time and speak to yourself now, so a lot of our guys watching this and listening, they are just starting out. They're trying to make their own film. If you could sit opposite you when you're first starting out and give any advice, what would you give to them?
There's two things that I would say. One of the things that I've said a lot over my, lengthy career is, as much rejection as you have in our business, just remember, you only need one yes. And the other thing is, I found, because I was, as I was growing up, I had the great benefit of doing a number of different things, right? Different kinds of jobs and doing like that. And the great thing is, life is such a wonderful thing because all of the experience you have in it informs you.
Yes.
So you shouldn't be afraid to dive into things, okay? Even if you decide once you're in there, you know what, that's not right for me. That's a great learning experience. So I'm somebody who's, I do the kinds of things I've talked to you about because I'm not afraid to dive into things, and I don't like being rash, but I also recognize I'm not going to be perfect and I'm going to make mistakes.
Yeah.
Don't be too hard on yourself.
Yeah, exactly. Don't be too hard on yourself. It's so true. This business is so hard and so difficult. So is life, right? And let's not beat ourselves down because we're doing our best.
Exactly.
I think we owe you a bottle of tequila at some point as well to say thank you for coming to do this again.
Okay. So, Don Julio 1942, boys.
Julio 1942, the cheap one. Yep, got it.
Thanks again.
Chuck Roven, thank you so much for your time. You're a superstar.
Thanks, Chuck.
In real time.
Bye. Take care. Bye.
What a brilliant episode that was. How great was Chuck to not only lend us his time, not once but twice, and we actually talked even more depth, and we got even more bits and pieces and gold and nuggets out of him as well, which obviously you heard. I hope you're having a great week. I hope things are moving forward for you already. I hope they are, and if they're not, make something happen. Do something right now to make it happen. I'm heading back to Bulgaria to finish the edit on Summer Diva next week, which is super exciting. Looking forward to that. And we're pretty much delivering sessions right now. So yeah, next couple of weeks that will be doing industry screenings and getting out there in the world as well, which is super wonderful. Mercy is out in cinemas now. Go watch it. It's amazing. It's a wonderful way to spend some time in a cinema. Until next time, until next Tuesday, I hope everything goes well for you. Until next Tuesday, when we have on Corin Hardy, the director of The Nun, talking about his latest film, Whistle. Not long after that, we have Bart Layton, director, talking about Crime 101. Then we have the team behind I Swear, this wonderful, delightful British film. We have the producers, Georgia and Piers Tempest, and we have the director on to talk about making the movie I Swear. Yeah, we fucking do. I swear too. Right, this is enough of me for now. I hope you got lots out of this week's episode. You're amazing for listening. I'm amazing for you listening. I don't know what I'm saying. I'm tired. You can probably hear I'm a little bunged up. Be a lot going on. But that's all good. We're all good. Positivity leads the way. We'll see you next Tuesday. Take care, everyone. Bye for now.
There's a new way to Sweet Green. Meet Wraps. Handheld, hearty, and made for life on the move. With bold, chef-crafted flavors, fresh ingredients, and over 40 grams of protein, they're built to satisfy without slowing you down. Try Wraps today in the app or at order.sweetgreen.com. Available at all participating locations.